What's up, guys? Mike Ranfone here. A few months ago, I wrote an article for tnation.com called Corrective Complexes. And it's basically how to address some soft tissue and range of motion needs. The whole idea behind corrective complexes is we're going to do three basic things. We're going to do some self-myofascial release, we're going to mobilize an area, and then we're going to activate or turn on the opposite musculature. For more information, just go check out corrective complexes on tnation.com. In that article, I laid out like 4 different types of complexes. The one that I was asked about the most that wasn't in the article was about the hamstring. I got a lot of emails and a lot of comments about that, so I decided to show you one of the versions of our hamstring complex. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to have to grab a couple tools. The first thing you're going to do is kind of figure out where you are in terms of your range of motion. Most people complain about tight hamstrings, so you don't really have to do a test, but to see if the activity is actually working, it's not bad to have a baseline. All right, so here's our test for hamstring flexibility. Keeping the hips and legs locked out, we're going to drive our hips back into a nice hip hinge position, slide the hands down the legs, all right, making sure that you're not borrowing any range of motion from the low back or from the knees, all right, so staying nice, tight, locked out position. We're going to go down until we feel like we're going to fall out of that position. So I'm roughly about where my kneecaps are, okay? So that's my baseline. If you want, you can draw a line so you don't have to remember where you exactly are, but make sure that you have some kind of idea, all right? The first part of the corrective complex is self-myofascial release, and we're going to start on the bottoms of the feet. Now, I know this is a hamstring complex, but the reason why we're doing this is because rolling out the plantar fascia, or the bottoms of the feet, has a systemic release on that posterior chain. So it's a good place to start, and if you're not doing it, you should do this every day anyways, all right? So I'm going to take about a minute and really address any kind of crunchy, soft tissue problems that I have in the bottom of the feet. Be thorough, be deliberate, and then of course do it on the other side, all right? So after doing that, we're going to address the hamstring tissue itself. You can use a foam roller, a medicine ball, PVC pipe, whatever. I typically like to use one of these, a stick. You can just be a little bit more aggressive, and I just feel it more. So you're going to lie down on your back, bent leg position, and make sure that you're, again, addressing where you find any crunchiness, any bad or poor tissue quality pretty deliberately. Do that about a minute to 2 minutes on each side. Okay? So from there, the tissue should be fairly compliant to subsequent work, and we're going to take advantage of that by doing some mobility work, okay? So this is a 3-way or 3-plane hamstring mobility exercise. So we're going to find something to prop our foot up on, making sure our legs straight, locked out. All right, so we're going to work through 3 planes of motion, frontal, sagittal, and transverse. All right, so the first movement is just forward and back, okay? Most people really just try to stretch their hamstrings out in the front to back, okay? But we're going to try to mobilize in 3 different planes. So the first one, forward and back 5 times, okay? Second one, side to side 5 times. And then the third one is rotate away 5 times. And make sure that you're staying in that plane of motion. If you're going to the front, make sure you don't slip out. If you're going to the side, make sure you don't slip out there, okay? So that's 5 times each way on each side. Okay, and then the last component of the corrective complex is the activation. Okay, so we look at the antagonist muscle. In this case, it's the quad, and we're going to try to activate that. This series, or this one in particular, is called an active isolated stretch. So we're going to actually do 2 things at once. We're going to activate the quad, and we're going to stretch out the hamstring. So it's a nice way to finish off because it kind of encompasses both the ideas behind it. Okay, so you're going to take a rope, a towel, whatever, wrap it around your foot. Okay, get down into a lying position with your off leg bent, okay? So we can already kind of assess and then reassess at the end. So I'm right around 90 degrees. I can force it a little bit more, but that's when I start to feel a stretch. So that's my normal range of motion. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to flex the quad. We're going to bring the leg up to that end range of motion. Once I hit that point, I'm going to assist with a 2-second stretch and then let it come back down. Okay, so all the time I'm keeping my quad flexed to assist or facilitate the stretch in my hamstring, but provide extra movement
right there. All right, so it doesn't have to be super aggressive. You want a kind of fluid, seamless transition to the point where you don't have any more range of motion to your assistance. All right, and I would try to do that 10 times on each side. Okay, so that's the final component. Those are the 3 sections of a corrective complex. You want to mobilize. You want to roll it, mobilize it, and then activate the antagonist. Any comments, questions, or other issues, please feel free to contact me or write on the bottom of the comment section. Thanks.